Dwight Howard is still really good, but the NBA is done with him. Yes, Dwight was out in Taiwan dropping Wilt Chamberlain numbers, shooting 10 threes and running pick and rolls.
What the f?
Any NBA player can go crazy in other non-Euro leagues. But how could Dwight just start on a championship team 2 years ago now be blacklisted in the NBA? Despite Dwight claiming he's in the best shape of his career, it's an ugly truth that has nothing to do with age. It showed throughout his whole career and a lot to do with why he didn't make the NBA top 75. Because Dwight coming in the league was hyped. He's only the third player ever to go #1 overall straight from high school. The other two, LeBron James and Kwame Brown. So big ring. The Magic drafted him and the Shaq comparisons were immediate. He was all NBA in his third year and by his fourth season finished 5th in MVP voting, averaging 20.7 points, 14.2 rebounds, 2 blocks on 60% from the field. The defense was becoming dominant,
Not in my house.
and the free throws were horrible. I literally have a fever right now, but I'm trying to get Dwight Howard a little bit of respect, so I'd appreciate if y'all would subscribe. Some jokes and Superman dunk contest later, and by the 2009 season, Dwight established himself as a bona fide superstar. He won Defensive Player of the Year, averaging 2.8 blocks a game, led an undermanned Magic team to the NBA Finals, bounced the defending champion Celtics, and then broke everyone's hearts by knocking out LeBron James 1 round before a Finals matchup with Kobe and the Lakers. We were robbed.
NBA championship ring that you don't have.
All this on an offense designed around Dwight posting up, getting doubled, kicking to shooters at 23 years old. When you look at the best players in 2009, obviously Kobe, LeBron pop up, but Dwight was unarguably in the top 10 in the league, some years top 5. The Magic had the best defense in the league, and eventually they would lose to the Lakers in the NBA Finals. Good looks for my Lakers.
You're welcome.
But Dwight kept improving, finishing 2nd in MVP in 2011 behind Derrick Rose. He won 2 more Defensive Player of the Years, making it 3 DPOYs in a row. This man was a household name, 5 All-NBA first teams, on the way to being one of the best centers of all time. But Dwight wasn't happy with the Magic. What is up, dudes, dudettes, ballers, players? It's your boy MJ. He was making a trade destination list public during a time when stars weren't even really demanding trades. It was called just as obnoxious as LeBron's decision announcement to go to Miami. The saga reached its peak a month ago before the 2012 playoffs. Magic head coach Stan Van Gundy told reporters that Dwight wanted him fired. Mid-interview, Dwight stepped in and awkwardly tried to embrace SVG. Alright, let's be real, Dwight was telling him to shut up or else, and Stan just walked away from the interview.
Yeah, what's our main concern right now?
A couple days later, Dwight suffered a back injury that caused him to miss the end of the season. The Magic had another first-round exit, and Stan Van Gundy was fired. Dwight got the nickname Coach Killer and requested a trade anyway. He also took some shots at his old teammates, calling them a team full of people no one wanted. Bro, what? Dwight had ruined his brand and become one of the most hated players in the NBA.
Why do you think people don't like you?
He later admitted that he blew it with the Magic and that he never fully recovered. The Magic traded him to the Lakers to team up with Kobe, Gasol, and Steve Nash for a super team that was supposed to be on par with LeBron, Wade, Bosh, the Big Three in Miami, and set the stage for the worst magazine cover ever.
What's this?
Dwight rushed back from surgery to make a title run with the Lakers, mainly due to the pressure to repair his image, but most people didn't realize it at the time. Dwight was struggling to raise his arms above his head. You know, that's pretty important if you're trying to play basketball.
You serve zero purpose.
Kobe told reporters that Dwight was too concerned with his image and not necessarily willing to do what it takes to win. So Kobe and Dwight did not get along.
Well, we didn't see eye to eye. It wasn't going to work.
And while Dwight's stats showed 17.1 points per game, 12.4 rebounds with 2.4 blocks, it was pretty visible that he wasn't really dominant and actually confused. Just 5 games into the season, the Lakers fired head coach Mike Brown and hired Mike D'Antoni, who runs everything through guards. At the same time, Dwight demanded low post touches. He didn't want to adapt, but D'Antoni also had a bias towards the 38-year-old Steve Nash because they had played together on those MVP Suns years. Man was dealing with a pinched nerve, but D'Antoni wanted to run a pick and roll offense through 38-year-old Steve Nash, who visibly could not move.
Make it make sense.
Dwight was frustrated on the court and wouldn't run some of the play calls, but D'Antoni also didn't want to listen to Dwight. D'Antoni treated Dwight and Gasol like expensive role players. So when Dwight chose to leave the Lakers after one season, even though he could have had an extra $30 million from them, it didn't sit well. He was tired of all the media narratives, coaching debacles, but he created an enemy out of the largest fan base in the league. And y'all know how delusional Lakers fans can be. Howard's contract ended and free agency began. Harden recruited Howard, and Daryl Morey, stat god, believed that Howard was the missing piece for their inside-out game. Yes, stats and analytics was the reason the Rockets signed 28-year-old Howard in his prime. How the narrative would change.
I'm trying to pick Dwight in Prize Picks, the sponsor of today's video, but he's not in the league.
You've seen me crush it 3 times with Prize Picks so far, so stick around. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. Pick 2 to 5 players, and if they will score more or less than their Prize Picks projection, you get paid. It's you against numbers like Dwight.
Oh, Luka dominating the first half against the crashing Nets?
Boy, ain't no way, boy.
That's a no-brainer. And Michael Porter Jr. going over 12.5 combined points, rebounds, and assists. Most of it's going to be points. That's easy against the Spurs. And we crushed it again. All first-time users that deposit and use the promo code MJ2K will receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100. You can win up to 10 times your money on any entry. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's that easy. So download Prize Picks and play daily fantasy sports on us.
Make sure you use the promo code MJ2K when you sign up. The way people remember Dwight on the Rockets, you would think he was useless.
What you say? What you say about my boy?
But he was averaging 18.3 points, 12.2 rebounds in his first season, making the Rockets a top 10 defense, and eventually 26 points and 13.7 rebounds in the playoffs. Unfortunately, they were playing against him. But Howard would miss half the games next season with knee swelling problems. It was his first time in his career missing significant games, and during that time, the Rockets shifted their entire offense to Harden. The Rockets made it to the 2015 Western Conference Finals, but Dwight was almost ran off the floor at times because they were playing with the small ball Warriors who would eventually win it all, and Howard was playing with a sprained knee. Except it was later revealed to be a torn MCL, a much more severe injury that should have required him to sit out for at least 2 months. Deja vu, huh? James Harden was 23 years old, reaching upper peaks of superstardom, and the Rockets were clearly making the team around Harden rather than Howard. Their playbook relied heavily on pick and rolls and stepped away from Howard's postgame. All this was so clear that they fired their head coach even after he had just led them to the Western Conference Finals.
What?
According to an anonymous player, when he joined the team mid-season in 2015-2016, he had to pick a side. Team Howard or Team Harden. Is this the Avengers? The hell? And not just him, but every other player on the team picked a side, and management made their choice clear. Dwight's usage rate plummeted despite him being healthy. It was the lowest it ever was in his first 8 seasons. So in his third year with the Rockets, he only averaged 13.7 points per game, the lowest number since his rookie season. The main reason Harden and Howard never made peace is because they acted like there wasn't a problem to begin with. Harden is passive-aggressive and non-confrontational by nature. Or is he?
I said, do you wanna fight? Do you wanna catch his hand?
It got so bad that Harden and Howard would take opposite routes to leave the arena. It's so wild because remember, Harden heavily pushed the Rockets to sign him in the first place. The management chose Harden, and Howard was out to Atlanta. Once again ousted from a team, and his reputation was finished. At this point, Howard was 30, considered to be damaged goods that couldn't win with Kobe, and now rising star Harden, and multiple executives thought his trade value was worth a second-round pick. Even though it was pretty clear to see that Howard just wasn't given that many touches. But the NBA was also shifting to the three-point era thanks to the Warriors. And Howard, as we've seen multiple times, can't shoot.
That just goes to show
Dwight's time on the Hawks and Hornets got overlooked despite him averaging 15.2 points and 12.6 rebounds on 59% from the field. Teammates were sick of Dwight's antics in the locker room, complaining for a larger role when the NBA was clearly moving in a different direction. They also said that Dwight wouldn't really give it his all on the Hawks, because now Dwight's post-up style was simply outdated, but he kept wanting more. By 2017, it was empty stats on meaningless teams, but it still showed that Dwight was a usable player. So when he got his chance on the Lakers, Dwight was humbled. He was 34 years old, no longer the same Dwight that jumped out the gym and knew that he wasn't going to be a central point of any offense. Instead, he would have to do all the little things, and he did. He averaged 7.5 points, 7 boards, 1 block in 19 minutes. He would be okay with sitting out some games, like against these small ball Rockets, and okay with just being a defensive anchor with absolutely no post touches. Here was a player that finally wasn't selfish, that was willing to do whatever the team needed for the first time in his career. But 1 year of that hasn't changed the bad taste in everyone's mouths of the previous 8. It's why he didn't make the NBA top 75, despite universally being thought to be probably around the top 65 player.
I knew I wasn't gonna be on it.
Why?
Politics. I already knew.
In fact, there's a lot of people that don't even remember Dwight's greatness.
Who?
Or his dominant 7-year stretch. The social media era took off as he was leaving the Magic, so bad publicity. Dwight then got in a scuffle with AD last year during a timeout, and while both players downplayed the situation, it didn't sit well with the Lakers organization and possibly the rest of the NBA, because it brings up the same bad taste of Dwight being a diva and wanting things his way, regardless of how little that argument could have actually been. It just wasn't a good look. And as much as we'd like to think that decisions in the NBA are based on a player's performance, narratives play a crucial role in signing a player. With social media on the rise back then, Dwight's locker room issues with former teammates resurfaced only to tarnish his NBA resume. He is still a solid role player who can provide valuable minutes to many current NBA teams looking for defense. The guy helped the Lakers win a chip 3 years ago, for crying out loud. He was actually useful. But Dwight isn't the only one who understands how narratives can lead to a player being kicked out of the league. J.R. Smith talked about him and a whole host of players being blackballed from the NBA. To most executives, Dwight simply wasn't worth the potential headache. You telling me this guy is still on a team over Dwight? Okay, the reason why Udonis Haslem is still on a team is because of the locker room presence he brings, as well as the Heat taking care of their players. So Dwight heard a variety of reasons why teams wouldn't sign him. We aren't signing anyone over 30, even though they added Patrick Beverley. Or, we need a big that can shoot, which, fair point. So all these highlights in Taiwan might not mean anything, but there's a whole career worth of plays and stats that show Dwight, at bare minimum, is a very capable role player. But his whole career also shows that he's continued to hurt himself and been one of the most hated players in the NBA.
I still think he should be in the league at the minimum.
The all-day notification shout goes to an OG day one, my girl, Maria Jo. The Warriors aren't looking too hot. Thanks for the all-day support.
If you want to know how KD has also been hurting his career, there's a video right here. And if you're still here, you're a real one, so comment return so I know. Happy holidays, happy Thanksgiving. It's your boy MJ. We out. We vibe.